Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that whatever you're up to today, Saturday, is it the 8th? The 8th of July. I hope you're having a nice and pleasant one. So I want to quickly do a video, because when you do videos, people respond to them better. They like audiovisual content, and often they are much more widely viewed than when you type something in the text box. So why am I doing this video? I'm doing this video because I wanted to let you know that we have a new eJournal, the Muse. The Muse is going to take the form of a journal now, isn't it? And I hope that once I collect enough poems in September time, we would have enough poems and short stories to use in the Muse, and that we would have an ebook on Amazon. Now, obviously, that ebook would be available to download, but I don't want to make any royalties from it, so we'll make it as cheap as possible. That's further down the line. We'll talk about it. Hello, good morning. I hope that whatever you get up to today, Saturday, the 8th of July, that you're having a nice and pleasant one. I don't know about yourself, but the school holidays here will start at the end of July. And I hope that if you plan to go away for summer, or if you plan to do something nice in summer, I hope you have an enjoyable time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing this video to clarify some discrepancies. Often I do videos because people relate better to audiovisual content. They might not read it when it's a typeset. They might come and watch a video for whatever reason, you know. And since most of the followers are male, I'm hoping to capitulate on that as well. I'm joking. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have gone and launched an eJournal, haven't I? The Muse, which was a program on the page where people used to submit audios. I've now got a new website, ellaspoems.com, and on there I hope to publish your content. Yesterday, the post went up that I had launched a new website, ellaspoems.com. It's a swanky website, it's a brand new website. Go and take a look, see what's on it. Oh, by the way, we're getting traffic to the page as well. So it's on Google, it's discoverable on Google. So that's a plus, isn't it? Now, I found out that in the continent, when you advertise that you're looking for content to publish, or when you put word out on the street that you're going to publish individuals, or when you say you're going to run a writing competition, people come out of the woodwork. They come out of the woodwork. People you and I have never heard of, they just moth out of nowhere. And it's quite off-putting. because it just shows there are individuals who badly want to get published, and it's regardless of what expect from them or what readers out there might expect. A lot of people in your continent write to make money. They write to call attention to themselves. Nothing wrong with that. Whereas I write because I enjoy doing it and I don't make any money from it at all. I write because often it's a form of expression. And lots of people that read on this side of the world, they do it as a hobby. As I do it to gain an education, to gain knowledge about something. So this is the first conflict where I find myself thinking, oh my God, am I going to attract the wrong sort of people again? And is this going to be another project that's just going to be a waste of money? We'll see how it goes on. We'll see what happens further down the line. And so yesterday, I'd scarcely put up the posts saying that I was going to do an eJournal. 3 individuals who I've never heard of, who've never followed us, who haven't got the blindest bit of interest in what I do as a person. They have submitted their poetry, and they all write poems. They don't write short stories because short stories are difficult to write. All of them are poets. And Mercy, who's a teacher in a school in your country, Malawi, she has carbon copied CC some writers, and so they're not the one-page followers. One of the gentlemen that she CC'd, she carbon copied, was a gentleman I never heard of. Imagine how many adverts have run in Malawi. We have adverts that have been viewed by over 200,000 people. This gentleman is in Malawi. He is probably a university student. I have people on the page who are from universities in Malawi. I have professionals on the page. We have been on national radio. Speaking of which, Dr. McKee is going to do a television interview on our behalf on the national television station on Tuesday morning. I will post details about Dr. McKee's interview. And if you're in Malawi, can you kind of watch it? He's going to be talking about misjudged and misperceived. Shout out to Dr. McKee and his team. And Dr. McKee's been one person that has supported us with the fact-finding for misjudged and misperceived. A big shout out to all the medical staff in Malawi whose research enabled me to come up with a book like Misjudged and Misperceived. Back to what I was saying. So this gentleman, he was assisted by a lady called Mercy, who's a page follower. And she obviously did it because she wanted him to come a bit and take a look at what we were doing. He has inboxed me in my email. He has inboxed me a poem. In the poem, this person, he has used the verb milking, M-I-L-K-I-N-G. It's a transitive verb. I have looked at transitive verbs here. Transitive verbs are verbs which take an object. To use in a sentence, I would say, Sarah was milking plus object, the cow. And so, looking through them, there were common mistakes which I have addressed here. One of the mistakes that people make is they use words wrongly. For example, a gentleman sent me a poem which had the verb milking, M-I-L-K-I-N-G. Now, milking is a transitive verb. Transitive means it takes an object. So to use in a sentence, I would say, Sarah was milking the cow. Another example would be Beyonce's fans were cheering at her concert. She was milking it. So I've used the verb milking. into different ways. You have seen how I've then added an object phrase as well. So the first submission was a poem that used the verb milking, and they've used other verbs incoherently. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use that because I'm not going to edit what you've written and then give you praise for it, which I used to do with a lot of people from Sierra Leone. And then it backfired in my face. And so I just, instead, because the person had spent money on the data to submit it, I shared it on Facebook, thinking their peers should read what they've written. And in the post I said, thank you very much for being the first person to have submitted this piece. I would not use it in the journal as it hasn't met the requirements. And then I ended up with a glass of wine emoji. And I said, please have a look at my website to see what I've uploaded. I've uploaded poems from what the Seychelles said to me by various poets from Sierra Leone. The gentleman that I cited in the post retorted with, are you trying to shame me? I give you 4 hours British time to delete the post with my poem or else, or something like that. And I thought, I only posted it so that others can read what you've written. It might be a small platform, but we have people from different countries other than Malawi. We have people from Kenya, Sierra Leone, England, Zambia, Uganda. We have a gentleman this morning that's from Burundi that speaks very good English and is also French speaking. And so the people from different countries, Umar Farouk is on here. You might not have heard about him. Umar Farouk is one of the best writers from West Africa, from Africa, in fact, because he's been commended so many times here. We have Anna Zambo on the page. You might not have heard about her. So when I post your material, it's so that other people can read it and they will see that this person has a talent. You don't know what might come out of it. It may well be that I'm not able to help yourself. It may well be that you end up getting published in America. You ended up getting published. You might end up getting published in other countries. Who knows? One thing leads to another, and social media connects people. So the gentleman did not like me posting his material on the page. Some people have a big ego. Some people are verbally abusive. So I've deleted it and I blocked him. Well, I'm going to try and laugh in Chichewa or Ingoni or Yahoo or Shona is spoken in Zimbabwe, isn't it? I don't know what other languages you speak. I'm going to try and laugh in Chichewa. Because the person had scarcely been off with me on Facebook. Guess what they done, ladies and gents? They then submitted another poem to my email. So you've come on Facebook, you've told me off in front of people, and then you go back and submit another email for me when I've paid to register my website. When I have paid my monthly subscription, I'm going to put your poem on my page after you've cursed at me. How do you laugh in Chichewa? Ho, 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 ho. Now I'm being silly. And I've told him, I said, I blocked you. I don't want to receive any more content from yourself, ever. I don't care if you're the president of your country. I don't care who you are. You can go and try someone else's website. So, basically, can I just reiterate that when I share your content, it's so that you get that recognition. So, a lot of people struggle to write poetry. When I say that, please don't take offense, because some of you, what you write might be acceptable where you live. In the wider world, it's not going to get you anywhere, because the standards are often higher, especially in England. In the United Kingdom, we speak English. This is the home of Shakespeare. It's the home of of the Queen's English, the King now, beg your pardon. This is the home of literature. So obviously standards are exceedingly high. So what might pass in where you live, it might not wash with me. It doesn't mean that you are, there's anything wrong with you. I'm not saying that. I only look at what you've written. I don't judge people at all. I just look at what you've written, and then I might say, well, maybe that's not for me. So a lot of you still write meters or rhyme in poetry. I always tell Imagine poets this, or Imagine writers, only touch meters, only write metered poetry if you probably have a doctorate in English. Because here, when you write meters, they're asking you, is it a pentameter? Is it an iambic meter? Is it dactylic? Oh, are you using end rhymes? Are you using internal rhymes? Oh, are you basing it on the rhyme scheme that was used in Romantic poetry? Are you basing it on Shakespearean English? Is that the rhyme you're using? So if you don't know what that is, don't even touch it. Because I'll be honest with you. I have 1 degree in English literature, and that's it. I don't have a doctorate in English literature. Some of what I post, I have to go and check with the BBC. I have to go and cross-check with the National Poetry Society before I post it. So if you ask me top of my head, what's dactylic? I know probably dactylic has maybe 3 stresses, doesn't it? Top of my head, I don't know. So I don't really like meters. I do meters, and I make sure that if you're doing meters, it's nice to have all the same amount of words in the line. So for example, if I have 6 words in line A, I'm going to have 6 words in line B. It's very hard. And when you're writing meters, which is rhymes, what does rhyme in poetry mean? Because a lot of you don't understand what it means. And most of you are still writing meters. Meters are like this. Please refrain, or abstain, or maintain. You can hear that all the lines end in the same syllabic sound, a consonantal sound, tain. Now, those poems usually do not get published anymore because the standard is high. When you're doing rhyme in poetry, you need to say what pattern you're using. Are you using an iambic meter? Are you using a pentameter? Dactylic? If you don't know what it is, because creative writing probably not taught where you are, don't touch it. I write free verse, and my poems get published sometimes because I make sure, even in my free verse, I have some kind of style, some kind of pattern. So I might look at 4 lines, and then I go back to my 2 lines, maybe I come back to 4. Or maybe I start off with, using assonance or alliteration, and then I stick with that. Make sure that if you're using a pattern, make sure it continues and flows throughout the poem. When you want to start writing, do a word bank. A lot of you, English is not your mother tongue. I don't mean that in a bad way. You speak beautiful languages, and those languages impact on how you use English. So a lot of you find words in dictionaries, and you think because the connotational meaning, the dictionary meaning is this, when I transcribe it onto my poem, it's going to come with the same meaning. But you forget the poems are figurative pieces. A poem is a figurative piece. You use in English in a figurative way, in a deeper way. You're alluding to something. Often you don't use words in the dictionary meaning. And in the area of semantics, when you bring words together, the meaning might change. I've gone through that. I'm not going to go through it again because I don't have enough time to do that. People might not watch the video because they might be worried about that data bundle. So think of what words mean and think of what they might mean in your poem. And so what puts me off is I might be reading a poem which I like, and then someone has used a word wrongly. I'm like, where on earth did that word come from? So make sure you know the meaning of what you're saying before you put it in your poem. Also, there are lots of people in your countries that get published. This website, as it is, this page, I've attracted a lot of young people who write for fun. And there are also people who have done English or literature who might write for a career. So where you have people in your country that get published, they should be your best friends. Before I started writing, when I got published in 1995, my late dad, made me read Shakespeare. He made me read Chinua Achebe. I read Wole Soyinka. I read Dennis Brutus. I read the Bible. I read Professor Silchinik Hooker. So by the time I got published, I was in my head, I could remember some of what I had read. There's a gentleman that judged a short story writing competition. His name is Stuart Kondowe. Stuart Kondowe is one of the people you might call a genius. He's a Malawian gentleman and he's a lawyer. Often in societies, you come across people who are exceptionally good at something, and then you ask yourself, how did they get to where they are? So Stuart is one person who started reading books since the age of 9. His father is an English teacher, teaches English in Malawi. He used to, because unfortunately that has retired. So go and look at how Stuart Kondowe writes. I have some of his poems on the page, and look at the meaning of what his pieces convey. Often they use language on a deeper level, in a figurative way. Let me give an example of a poem that's probably figurative, not one of his, just a poem I'm going to make up here. A journalist might say, politicians are crafty and cunning and deceitful. A writer might say, fishes, slippery as eels, we are governed by fishes, slippery as eels. So I haven't said politicians. I've used eels, slimy fish, aren't they? Yeah? Am I alluding to the deceitful nature of politicians? How cunning there? You might say, maybe yes. So that's a poem, isn't it? A poem is meant to provoke deeper thought. You might want to do prose poetry, which is as we speak. A lot of young people who submit pieces, they want to write like they would live in the 19th or 18th century. They go, for thou, or my. Who speaks like that? You ask me, how are you? I go, I'm good, fabulous. I don't go, oh, one is okay, or one is at least formal speech. Poetry is not really as formal anymore. Poetry is how you express your thoughts using language as it's used now. Before you start to write, look around in your country, people that are flying the flag for your literature. A lot of young people, they just want you to read their material. I'm not saying young people in this country, I mustn't say that. A lot of people I met online from the African continent, they want you to read what they've written. They don't want to read what another person has written. They don't care who you are. Someone was here yesterday telling me about, speaking to me as if to say, I've always lived in England. I haven't. I lived in Sierra Leone until I was 24. My poetry here, my stories, are referred to as Black British literature, and often publishers say she was born in Sierra Leone. That's to say, whether they like it or not in Sierra Leone, I represent them. Whether they think I'm from there or not is irrelevant. I know I posted up, jokingly said, I've got nothing more to do with Sierra Leone because I didn't like the outcome of the elections. Obviously, I was joking. So, you are a representative of your literature. You fly the flag for your country. Raimundo got published in Humanities, didn't he? And they said a Malawian poet has been published in a humanity review or something like that. They didn't say a Greek poet. So he represents the country where he's from. Look around before you start writing. Who's representing you? A lot of people here have not even heard of people from their country. I was speaking to a Zambian guy who likes doing spoken word. And I said, have you heard about any poets from your country? He couldn't name any. And I said, that's funny because I know at least 5. I was speaking to a Sierra Leonean guy on my last platform, and I mentioned Professor Sil Chinikoka, and he's going, who? So you need to know those names, their household names. You need to know who Dennis Brutus is. You need to know who Sil Chinikoka is. You need to know who Umar Farouk is. You need to know those things because when people talk about African literature, they talk about people like Banabum Hallowell. So if you Google African literature, those names are going to come up. You need to know those people. And maybe if you can, if there's a library where you are, read what people publish nowadays. And that might help yourself. I was thinking of something else. Now, we want this magazine to be successful. So it's going to be about yourself. And then I'm going to upload it as an ebook on Amazon. If you don't follow the page, how am I going to get your consent to upload it as an ebook, a free book? So we might market it for 99p, whereas I get 0 royalties. But it's just that you can say to people, I've been published and my poem is in this ebook. And then I will circulate a PDF to people that are in it. Say we have 20 writers and some people send in some short stories as well. I would save it as a PDF and then email it to people who contributed. So even if you can't download it from Amazon, you can say to your friends, look, I'm published, you know. So let's make it successful and let's celebrate each other. Celebrate each other, isn't it? That's what literature is all about. Have a nice day, ladies and gentlemen.